can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. Oh, I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. See, we was cool right before it hit the fence, but it hit the fan when I got him down at the bench. But I took a break, I had to leave and go get cleansed. God forgive me for all my sins. I can't say these cause my last name ain't Ken. Cooking on the stove, that's the way he paid the rent. Working on the pole, that's the way she paid tuition. Better watch your soul, cause you know they trying to get it. Yeah, yeah. I learned my right from wrong on a song. I let my heart bleed on my sleeve through microphones. I'm trying to right my wrongs by writing out my wrongs. Ran through a check, cause it's hard to live off bread alone. So if you see me slipping, yeah, let me know. Cause it ain't the end of times yet, I know, but it's getting close. Yeah, I need my space to breathe, that's why I be going ghost. I ain't trying to stay up on that wide road, cause I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. Oh, I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. Oh, I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. They thinking I'm bluffing, but I promise I do it. That K got a drum, like murder and booming. Sending you vert, if I get my little Uzi. They thinking I'm crazy, I'm gon' see you the haters. People I'm saying, get what I'm painting. A picture big, I call it little baby. If I'm on the board, then we playing chess. If you on my way, you gon' need a vest. Act big, you might get stretched. All your gun talk, I ain't impressed. My 45 seen real traffic. That's Dallas, Texas. My little partner called her body for a Maserati. He told him get about the car, hit him with the shotty. That 12 gauge, gave him life in the 12th grade. I tried to write him, but we ain't on the same page. I caught him slipping, I just had to let him know. It ain't the end of times yet, I know, but it's getting close. These demons really out to get you, so you better guard your post. There's certain things I could probably let go, but I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. Oh, I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. Oh, I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. I can't let them take my soul.
Is it me or do you shimmer of light? carefully, but have you ever thought about you? Don't know why I keep on doing what I'm told to do, when the rules are made up by someone we never knew. Baby, wipe your tears and hear me out. We don't need someone to feel alright. Let's do the streets on Monday. Let's call your exes and tell them they can join us too. Why always worry about money when you can get rich by trying to see the outside? I know it's hard sometimes to believe it, that you deserve more. Let me hear you say it. Oh, quit the job you hate and love the ones you love. 'Cause have you ever really thought about you? Don't know why I keep on doing what I'm told to do, when the rules are made up by someone we never knew. Baby, wipe your tears and hear me out. We don't need someone to feel alright. Let's do the streets on Monday. Let's call your exes and tell them they can join us too. Why always worry about money when you can get rich by trying to see the outside?
Every day I'm looking for a way to return to the time when everything was easy to learn. Don't know when it started to get so serious, building up an illusion of a world full of trust. Moving on when everything's gone. It's hard to be strong. Confusion in my mind, no way to turn back time. My soul in need of remedy, don't even know the enemy. When I feel out of touch, can't seem to get enough. Hiding away from everyone, I don't know where I'm coming from. It feels like it never happened, maybe just a dream. Could it be my imagination?
my lips feel bent from the bit. Take a sip till I pass out. Try and get grit, but it don't make sense. Cause you can lose life on this fast route. Yeah, turn thoughts to a cash cow. I might flip that to the glass house. I don't need the accolades, I'm in love with the chase. I just wanna eat, save a spot at the table. Beast with the slack, pin myself on the map. You long with the wind, but we knowing that it's cap. 5-hour flights, couple nights at the flat. To be real, couldn't see me making moves while I'm at. I'm still on the grind, limit time when I chat. I'm burning down sage, keep the demons away. When I write it, give a piece of myself to the page. I don't do it for the praise, love, that's just how I'm made.
Truth in the glass in the mirror. Do it at me, old man, trying to pass in the fear. You're the first one to talk, but the last one to hear. Eyes blurry, but I couldn't see that, and he cleared down. Start to feel like I'm on one. Settle in, I'll be here for the long run. I'm a slave for the cash, got snakes in the grass, no brakes on the ad, but it's all fun. We done seen it all, heard enough, give me space before I murder y'all. 10 bad here, I'ma curve them all. 12 missed calls, and I still made a curtain call. Here to light it up, lighten up. Hear him talking, they ain't right enough, tighten up. Everything that I came for, I left with. I don't bang sets, I just bang on the set list. Going past supper when I came for the breakfast. Put me in your prayers, I might put you on the guest list. Young, tell me reckless. Gold in my soul, got the same on my necklace.
She's putting all of her cards down on the table, knowing there's no way.
What's up, Dyna fam? Hey, Mark, can you talk for me? I want to make sure your audio's coming through.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing? Welcome to another episode of Generation Orange. I'm your host, Mark Segovia, alongside my co-host, Sean Ringross. What's up, Sean?
Man, Dynamo prospects on for next year. Kenny Bundy's stock as a coach. Fafa Pico's contract stock for next season for other teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, the Bundy stock is going up. The Fafa stock looks to be going up. He looks happy. The Quintero stock is always seems to be up there, but for some reason we're always selling it. I don't know why.
He's got this. He's got this ebb and flow, man. He's on a roller coaster. Every week is a new week. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad.
Nah, I mean, we'll discuss it a bit, but it's the Quintero thing. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on or what people are thinking or why, because I mean, this is back-to-back coaches, right? That they're having a little bit of an issue of playing him more on a consistent basis, and this is supposed to be your playmaker. This is really realistically the only true playmaker you have on the squad. But we'll get to that, guys. But yeah, man, yesterday, a Tuesday night game, soccer night in Houston on a Tuesday, goes up on a Tuesday, like we all know. Dynamo beat the New England Revolution 3-1. Brace by Fafa, goal by Quintero, missed penalty by Sebas Ferreira. And I mean, what else? I mean, Sean, I mean, like it's one of those things where, like, we're almost to the finish line of the season. Another disappointing season at that. But obviously, we try to look for the little rays of sunshine that appear our way. And thankfully there has been a little bit of ray of sunlight coming our way in the form of our new interim coach, Kenny Bundy. first 2 games, 4 points, obviously. So it's a bit of a positive there. Seeing obviously the last game, no, it wasn't the last game. It was the Seattle game, the Nagas last game. Seeing Brooklyn Reigns finally get some first team action, things of that nature as well. And, just kind of suiting up and kind of getting kind of ready for that offseason, Sean. I mean, it's one of those things where we've been doing this, 3-4 years now?
Season number 4.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where like, oh, okay, we're about to get to the offseason, and then I guess we'll see where what happens with that. And obviously with that comes a new ray of hope that hopefully doesn't get squished like a cockroach again. But, that's what it is. It's a whole cycle of being a Dynamo supporter. But, one day we'll break that circle. But, with that being said, obviously, speaking of breaking circles, or not breaking circles, obviously the famous words from our old queen, Rachel Daly, who's out there in Aston Villa now. The Dash, man, let's talk about the Dash before we get into the Dynamo, because, obviously we want to start off the show with something positive. And the Dash are in the midst of clinching for the first ever playoffs, man. 1-1 tie with Angel City FC this past Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. A hell of a goal of the year, some people are calling it, for NWSL, from Maria La Bombi Sanchez, about 28 yards out. It was a golazo. It was a golazo on her bobblehead night. Sean, what was your reaction when you saw that goal?
Speaking of Golasso, we got to give a shout out to our sponsor for the episode tonight, Golasso.media. Like that segue, wasn't that nice? Wasn't that clean? Wasn't that smooth? Shout out to Golasso.media. Make sure you guys go check out Golasso.media and seriously go pick up some player likeness merch. There is a La Bombi shirt out there. There is a La Bombi mug you can pick up. I'm just saying, support your favorite NWSL Dash player. We know that's Maria Sanchez, no doubter. But yeah, seriously, thank you, Golasso.media. Yeah, man, that goal was stunning. I mean, Golasso is a good term for it, but like, exactly, the Golasso Media Golasso of the Week. I found my future producer of Generation Orange. Thanks, Steve, for joining the show. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, it was stunning. It was a beautiful shot. It was beautifully placed. It had just the right amount of power on it. I mean, keeper stood no chance. I think, I don't remember what the announcer specifically said, or not an announcer, but the commentator. But if I recall, the commentator said something to the effect of, take a bow, Maria Sanchez, goal of the year. It was like that level of like, you knew immediately. And yeah, I would not be surprised if at the very least she's up for goal of the year, within the NWSL level of competition. But the draw hurts a little bit. I mean, it was better than a loss, but it comes at a point that they really need to pile up a couple more wins to close out the season to get that playoff spot secured, so that they're not looking at the last match of the season trying to eke their way into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think like we spoke about before, prior to the show, obviously, I think going into that match, we needed 4 points to qualify for the match, for the playoffs, without no struggles. So obviously we grabbed the point at home, so we just need 3. But with that being said, I mean, obviously, the goal is to make the playoffs, but it would be nice to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and not just make the playoffs, but be able to host your first playoff game at home, and which we're hoping for the Dash, because obviously it's one of those things where I'm looking forward to it if it happens, and obviously being out there in the stadium to support the ladies. I know a bunch of people here on the chat, on YouTube, on Twitch, and obviously all the other Dynamo Dash supporters as well, the Surge and Bayou City Republic. I know they're looking forward to it, and obviously, especially those guys, who've been the supporters of the Dash, from the get-go, and would love to see something like that at home for them. For those guys to be there to support fully. But yeah, man, I mean, obviously the first goal is to actually qualify for the playoffs. But, like you said, Sean, it does leave a little bit of a disappointment. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, this past weekend in Houston sports, it was nothing but ties. The Dynamo tied against Sporting Kansas City. The Dash obviously tied. The Texans tied. So, I mean, it was a week of ties for Houston. But this one, unfortunately for me, it felt more like a loss because, like I said, a lot of things were the things that were up for grabs. They would have been in first place in the league if it had they beat Angel City FC. So it's kind of one of those things where, like, yeah, you're glad you got the point, but at the same time, you didn't really accomplish what you should have accomplished, especially at home. But with that being said, there's 3 games left for the girls to get 3 points and to qualify for the playoffs. And then hopefully, like I said, we end these 3 games in a high note and gather all 9 points if possible. That would be the best case scenario here. Sean, anything else you want to add as far as the dash, anything like that?
I think beyond just the 9 points, it's also important the Dash find their winning ways heading into the playoffs as well. Like, you kind of want to get momentum, right? And momentum and confidence heading into your first ever playoff match. And again, it's a difficult close to your season just in general based on the schedule, but you still have to go out there and you still have to perform. And again, you get your next win, in your next match. You've sealed playoffs. Okay, now the pressure's off. Go out there, win your other 2 matches for the remainder of the season, and go into the playoffs with a really solid record. Put some pressure on first and second place, and put yourself in a position to potentially host not only your first match, but maybe multiple matches in the NWSL playoffs, and that would be huge. 6 teams make it in the NWSL playoffs now, so top 6 is roughly half the league. So kind of like an MLS where basically more than half the league or right at half the league make the playoffs every year. It's kind of that way.
And correct me if I'm not right on this, but the first 2 seeds get a bye week, I'm guessing, or it's what, 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a bye week necessarily, or if it's just a bye from those matches, the midweek play-in matches, if you will, and then the weekend is when they play their next series of matches.
Okay. So but look, it gives you an opportunity to rest players and to get players that you would want healthy, more time to get healthy and get close to 100% as you can, and get the squad motivated and going. And obviously, like I said, look, the first priority is to qualify for the playoffs, and you can do that in your next game if you win that game, obviously. Then after that, depending on how ambitious the team is, which I'm sure with Juan Carlos in there in charge, they want to go out there and get all 9 points, like I mentioned earlier. But once you qualify for the playoffs, now you can kind of waver a different type of way. You can rotate your squad a little bit, get some rest in for some players who've been who might need some rest, or let some players relax a little bit who have a little bit of a nagging injury, things of that nature. You can go different paths with it once you qualify for playoffs. But obviously, Juan Carlos and his background, I'm pretty sure he wants to go after that number 1 spot and make sure that they guarantee at least one home playoff dash game. So we'll be rooting for the ladies, and we'll be there for sure whenever that game is scheduled here for PNC. Sean, but anything else you want to add to the dash before we move on? Because obviously on the other side of the boat over there, PNC is not so bright, but there's a little bit of rays of sunlight coming out, like I mentioned earlier. Is there anything else you want to add before we move on?
Not for the dash. Nope.
All right, so let's get to the poll question of the day, because obviously the poll question that we put out today this morning is kind of obviously based on, for the majority of the show that we're going to be talking about. And that poll question is, the Bundy era is off to a good start. 2 games, 4 points. What would you like Kenny's position to be with the Dynamo for next season? Obviously, he's in charge for the 6 games remaining, the 2 that he has already been playing, the 4 that are left over. Sean, obviously, I'll pose this question to you, and I'll tell you the results right now. But the choices were: should he go back to Dynados and coach those guys because he did such a great job with Dynados the first season in MLS next? Should he be the next Dynamo manager if he does a really great job with these last few games, or does he get an opportunity to be a top assistant for whichever head coach comes into the Dynamo for next season? Or the fourth is else he just goes elsewhere. Sean, I'll let you choose. What do you want to see for Bundy for next season if he does really well with these last 4 games?
I think I would like him to see him. Even at this point, I would like to see him become the assistant to whomever is brought in. Doesn't even have to necessarily be the first assistant, although I think that would be huge. Thanks for the sub, X. Appreciate it.
Hey, there you go, Primo. What's up?
But I think he's proven that he understands the game, he understands the players, he understands MLS, he understands the system. Even in the short stint that he's had leading this team and these players, and then his stint obviously with MLS Next Pro. I could see a lot of benefit there, and I think that does allow you to be able to go out and get a coach that maybe doesn't have MLS experience, a coach that kind of falls in a similar mold to a Juan Carlos Amoros for the, on the women's side, be able to find a coach like that for the men's side that has a lot of experience, in other leagues, in other countries, in Europe or in South America or wherever, has a lot of experience in that way, but somebody who has also proven it in those other leagues and in those other opportunities, but also hopefully somebody who's got a very, very good mind for soccer just in general, or football in general, because that is the one thing that has made Juan Carlos Amoros successful so far, is that he understands the game and is able to express that easily. I think you could. I think I would like to see Bundy step into an assistant position for that next coach. I don't think he's yet ready for a full-on head coach position, especially considering the vast amount of changes that are going to be necessary player-wise. I think that's a huge task for any new coach that's not done head coaching at the highest level, for more than just an interim stint like this. I like what I've seen so far at the very least.
Yeah, I think, obviously we have to take in count the fact that, the Dynamo as a club has been in the pits of this hole that we've just been falling deeper into. So once we see something positive, we're here hoping, and quite a bit of us praying that, this is our savior, and like I said, shout out to the media team for the Dynamo, because like those guys, they make certain things look amazing. And obviously that after that post-game speech that he gave to those guys afterwards, man, had me pumped up, man. I was excited. I was like, man, yeah, and when you have a coach you have different styles of coaching. You have different types of coaches. You have coaches who are very knowledgeable tactically. You have coaches who are very motivational. And you have coaches who are just in your grill, get you pumped up, fired up, who are hype men, for lack of a better term, right? And there's nothing wrong with either version of whatever coach you might be, but just depending on where the squad is at, depends on which characteristic of coach fits best right now at this moment. And at this moment, because of the way the Dynamo ended the Nagamura era on such a downward negative spiral, just to have somebody smiling and being happy as far as the coaching staff, something that brought me joy and positivity. Do I think he might be the best the best coach tactically? I don't know. Like I said, I know he's done a great job with Dyna Dose. But it's a huge leap from MLS Next to MLS. and an even bigger leap once you become the full-time head coach. So I don't want to put too much emphasis on like, oh man, do I want Bundy to be the next coach no matter what, especially if he does well these next 4 games, blah blah blah, this and that. I don't want that kind of pressure on him. I don't want that kind of pressure on I don't want that kind of pressure from the fan base to the club, because I think the club really needs this. This is a pivotal offseason for the club as far as bringing in somebody to be the leader of this club on the pitch. Obviously we have our leader in the front office with Pat Onstead and Asher and Ted, but we need that leader on the field. So I'm kind of with you, man. Depending on who comes in as far as head coach, obviously a head coach can have anywhere between 2, 3, 4, 5 assistants. I don't see why Bundy, if he wants that position, why wouldn't that be offered to him? Because obviously somebody that he has experience in that now. with what he's doing and things like that. So I mean, I think I'm with you. If he's willing to take that position to be one of the assistants for the next head coach, that would be amazing. If he wants to go back to do the Dino Dose thing because that's what he's enjoyed and he enjoys bringing up the young kids, that's great too from my standpoint as well. You know, am I naive to not think that maybe a MLS team or two will be looking at this as a tryout for their head coaching position that might become available in the offseason? No, I'm not. Look, hey, even though we've been down in the gutters for all these seasons, there's a lot of teams that are down in the gutters as well. And they're going to be looking for a new face to lead their respective clubs. And if you have somebody who's doing it right now, who's having on-job training right now, which is basically what Bundy is getting at the moment, you know, then why wouldn't another team that maybe Sporting Kansas City, you know, take a shot with Bundy and move on from Peter Vermees, you know, even though, you know, who knows, that might seem kind of unlikely, but, you know, Sporting Kansas City is right there neck to neck with DC United for this wooden spoon. So, you know, who knows? But yeah, it's something good, something great to talk about. I mean, kind of like on the sidebar, but in all realistics, from my standpoint, I don't expect Bundy to be our next head coach.
There's a lot to unpack in what you just said. You said a lot in a really short period of time. But the primary thing, and I think this is, you know, it kind of goes back to something that this team has missed for, it feels like a while. You know, what did they do? They got back to having fun, to playing the game, to play the game. You know, you kind of called it with the pressure's off, right? You're already out of of anything that matters in terms of playoffs. Go out there and be spoiler if you want, but there's no pressure to be spoiler. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But the way that the guys played last night, and, you know, I pointed this out in the Surge chat Discord after the match, you know, you could see Quintero was out on the pitch after the match smiling and goofing off and having fun. Fafa was out there. Did you see his celebration after his goal? I loved the money celebration. That was king level clutch. Not gonna lie. You know, and all the players after the match, they were all smiling. Everybody was just having a good time, having fun. And I can't tell you the last time I've seen that from Dynamo players. I
forget what Twitter page I saw it from, and I know it's one of the national guys from MLS, but he was talking about Bundy. He just simplified everything, you know. All he did was put the best player in whatever position for that formation that he had, which was a 4-2-3-1, you know. So what do? You at the number 10 position, you put Darwin Quintero, your playmaker. I
mean, that should have been a given the whole season,
which sounds so like when you know, it's funny because when a national guy says something like that, right?
Yep.
Because you would think, look, the Dynamo are on the bottom of the league again. They've been irrelevant for almost a decade, you know. So how many national guys are really truly paying attention to the Dynamo, right? You know, aside from, like, you know, the purchase of the team and things like that, and the Hector Herrera effect they had for like a month or so. But other than that, it's like if a national guy can tell you this, then why has it been so difficult for our last two head coaches to understand this and the formations they're trying to play? You know, that, hey, if you're gonna play a 4-3-3 or if you're gonna play a 4-2-3-1 or whatever, that playmaking midfielder, you only have one that's really capable of playing that position. Now, I know that sometimes people are like, oh, well, we can use him against tired legs and stuff like that. But look, I'd rather him play the first 60 minutes and try to do something in 60 minutes than him try to pull something out of his ass the last 20, 25 minutes as a super sub. You know, because that it's tougher. Even though, you're going against tired legs, but depending on what's going on, what the situation is at that time, you might not get that opportunity for him, right? So I'd just rather him go out there, play the first 60, 65, 70 minutes if he can give you, and then put in who you got backing him up, Palomino, for the last 20 minutes, right? But for some reason, it's been like dumbfounded, like this. No, this is not an option. This is not a possibility. We can't expect Quintero to play 70 minutes a game. I mean, dude, we're making it seem like he's 42 years old. The guy is 32, 33 years old, which I understand, like in soccer years, that might seem like an old man. But look, this is the new generation of soccer players. We've seen world-class players going up to play into the age of 40s. The today's athlete is lasting longer than what they used to. And we need to stop tying ourselves down with all these different notions, like, oh no, we need to preserve them and this and that. Like, dude, look, I'd rather have Quintero for 20 games balling out of control and he gets hurt because we overplayed him, than to have him sitting on the bench frustrated, be up and down roller coaster wise as far as his chemistry with the players because he doesn't get enough time. Like, honestly.
Yeah, I like what C said in the chat. I didn't read this, but I didn't read the same thing that he read, but he said, I think I read somewhere where Bundy told these dudes to just express themselves. They probably haven't heard that or been told that in a few years. I mean, that's my thing, right? Like, I keep coming back to this. You're seeing these guys just play fundamentally sound soccer right now. I mean, yes, defensively they still gave up a goal that they shouldn't have given up. Yeah,
it was a Parker mistake, that he dumb mistake.
It was, but and there were a couple other defensive mistakes in there that thankfully Clark cleaned up, and it wasn't quite as big of a deal. But it was just like, in spite of that, you felt like the guys, and Bundy said it in his post match talk. He said, look, we went, we went up a goal and we went out there and we were searching for two. Instead, they hit us on the counter and they got their first goal. And instead of giving up, instead of conceding and like, oh man, well, here we go, we've conceded again, we turned around and we just went for it. And we scored 2 more goals after that. And we kept going for it. Like, we weren't content with it. He goes, that's what I've been saying. And I'm like sitting here going, Bundy, that's what I've been saying. Like, the guy gets it. And
yeah, I mean, and look, a soccer player should be able to be given the freedom to express himself on the pitch. Otherwise, what are you doing, right? Obviously, to a certain point. I mean, you're going to have your tacticians and your master tacticians that are going to tell you, like, look, this is why I put you in this area, and this is why I need you to hold this area down, and this is why you need to do this during this time. Whatever. Okay, cool. But you have to give them an opportunity to express themselves from time to time and get out of the mold of playing for the system and let them play for themselves and express themselves.
Yep.
We have a lot of talented players. Like I said, we've seen glimpses. Obviously from Darwin Quintero, right? From Sebas Pereira, from Fafa, from Seca, from Lundy. All these players have something to offer as far as skill level and talent, even though we've seen it. And even though we've seen them for the last couple of years together and they just suck as far as results and as far as team building goes. But you always see this little spark from one of them every once in a while that shows up. And we're like, damn, man, if you can only do that for, a little bit more often, we can turn some of these ties into wins or some of these losses into ties and get some more points. But I don't always put it on the players because sometimes, like I said, I was Matt Doyle who mentioned it. Sometimes all you have to do is just put the player in their best position to go out there and succeed and let them run with it. Get out the way. And I honestly, I think that's what Bundy basically did. I don't remember hearing him talk, explaining anything as far as like, oh, this is why I need you here, this and that. No, he just said, hey, look, go have fun, go out there, go do your thing, and if we mess up, that's fine. We'll pick each other up and we'll go after it. Like,
I loved it because effectively, and I'm gonna piggyback on what you said. I've been saying this because when we talked Paulo out, when we were first talking it, you asked me the question, why are you Paulo out? And I said, it's pretty simple. Paulo continues to put players in positions to fail, not to succeed. He is not putting guys in positions to get the most out of how they play. And you just see it. The guys are loose. They are literally, it's like, and don't get me wrong, this is probably almost exactly what he said to the guys. Look, go out there and play the damn game. You're professionals. You know how to play. I don't need to coach you how to play soccer. You go out there and you play soccer. You as a group are better than what they're going to put on the pitch tonight. Just go out there and play the damn game.
Look, sometimes, look, even the best coaches overthink and overcoach.
Especially when the team is struggling consistently.
Exactly.
You start to second guess that.
You start, and that's understandable, and that's fine. And like I said, and we're talking about experienced coaches that have number of years under their belts with big clubs around the world, right? Our last two coaches have been rookie coaches, their first time coaching professional players, et cetera, right? They have a lot of things in similarities. And when they hit the wall, as far as like, why is this team not functioning the way it's supposed to be functioning? Because we have the level of talent that we have to make a playoff run. Obviously they start to crumble. Because they haven't been dealt with this before. Because like I said, look, Paulo comes from SKC2, right? A youth development club that didn't care about winning. All they cared about was developing their players and making sure they got minutes and things like that, because obviously his SK2 record shows it. He was nowhere near a winning head coach, in that development league. All they worried about was just making sure that their high talented youth players were getting minutes and were understanding the SKC system and things of that nature. That's what they did. Tab Ramos. Yeah, he did a lot of winning with the U.S. Youth national team, but in the same time, you're teaching young boys who are trying to make it to the next level as professionals and who are willing to run through a brick wall 3 times in a row if you ask them to, if that's what they have to do to make it to the next level, as opposed to coaching professionals who are already there, who've been there, done that. You can't come with the same system. You can't come with the same methods. It's like, if I have a 15-year-old who might have a lot of talent, but it's just raw, then I'm gonna take him aside and be like, hey, this is why you need to be on this side and play it from this angle instead of that. I'm not doing that with a 28, 29-year-old soccer player who's been playing, professionally for the last 10 years, who understands that. I need to be there more as a motivator for him, somebody to kind of light a fire under his ass and let him know that, dude, you're here for a reason. We believe in your talent, and we think that you can help us get to whatever level we're trying to get to. But these last 2 coaches have not done that. And all Bundy did was simplify the aspect of coaching, and was just their number one cheerleader. Yeah, that's all he was. He was the number one cheerleader for the whole squad.
It's like he took the training wheels and the governor off the engine, and he said, "All right, drive the damn bus, because drive the damn car." Because you got the wheels, you got the engine, you got everything you need, just drive. And the guys went out and they just drove, and it looked great. I was like, man, and I said this is what I've been saying all season, that this team, these players, and I said this back in the Tab regime too, but these players are good enough to compete. Now, I'm not saying they're going to compete for MLS Cups or anything like that, or, top 4 or whatever. But what I'm saying is they're good enough to compete for playoffs. They should be at that level to compete for playoffs. And what we saw, and this is me just reaffirming for anybody who still questions why Paulo should have been fired. But these guys, it's clear. There is a night and day absolute difference between the way that these players played with Paulo as coach and the way that they played last night with Bundy as coach. And
they look relieved.
And what?
They look relieved.
They look relieved, and they look like they believe in themselves, in the team, in the coach. Like, to George's point, I mean, Seren looked kind of renewed out there. Coco was a man possessed going at 80th minute runs after playing the entire match. Like, he was like, bro, I'm supposed to be tired now? No, let's go. Let's run hard.
Guess what happened yesterday? Instead of Fafa having 2 offside calls like he usually has per his game, he had 2 goals instead.
Bro,
no offside calls.
Can we talk about that goal, though? Can we talk about that shot from just the top of the box?
I mean, dude, it's his best goal as a Dynamo player. I mean,
by far. Like, not even close.
I can't really think of any other unless it was a tap-in or a PK. But that was his best goal as a Dynamo player for sure. And look, if Fafa is capable of that, then cool, then that's great. And but where has it been, And like I said, I'm not placing the blame on Fafa per se on him or any other player per se, right? But sometimes I think it's hard to do what you got to do when they're asking you, like, oh, when Tab is pounding on you, like, we got to get back on the defense. We got to get back on defense. Okay, that's cool, but dude, like, we just paid $1 million and Dom Garber bucks for Tim Parker. We just paid like another $1 million in transfer fee to bring in Teenage Adibi to be our DP. Like why do I have to run back from all this away side to come defend on this side, even though it's appreciated, don't get me wrong, it has to be done from time to time. I understand that. But to do it all the times, that's why our offensive players are so tired and can never be open and can never make a run into the box and can never create any separation.
I don't know if you saw this during the match. I may have been the only one that keyed in on this, but there was a series of plays. It was not very long, maybe like a minute, where Lundqvist had run up on the left side, and Fafa he kept going with the ball. So Fafa just slowly tracked back. He got into position. Fafa played left back for like a minute, a solid straight, actually played defense for a solid straight minute. But here's the difference. He wasn't playing defense and then immediately turning around and trying to counterattack. He was the ball was switched to the other side so that he could catch his breath and he could make his way back into position. So I think that was a big difference too, is there's kind of two things that I noticed tactically, and Bundy had brought it up. He said, we're going to do some tactical things that we haven't done before. Hopefully people catch it, but they may not. They're not really going to be easy to see, but this is what I saw. Number one, selective pressing. Pressing when it is in your best interest. Pressing when it matters. Pressing when it's important. Pressing when you're starting to feel that momentum change. Not just pressing to simply press every single time another player has a ball. So pressing with purpose is what I call it. Pressing with purpose. So they did that. And then the second thing was the interchanging, the covering back. The guys were rotating or out. They weren't just coming back and then you had three guys in a line trying to defend one or two, two offensive players. What you had was guys spaced out, guys who were positionally well placed to hit, to cover for the passing lanes, but also cover if a guy got by somebody else. And then they were rotating around. The one thing that from a defensive standpoint tactically that we have not done in a very long time is cover defense. We've just relied on 1v1 style defending that if that one player is beat, oh man, we're screwed. Now if that one player is beat, there's somebody right there behind him to step up and be that next defender. Now you're not just defending, you're not just attacking against one defender, you're attacking against a team. And it is much harder to break a strand of three cords, as they say, than it is to break a single stick.
No, for sure, man. And like I said, these are professional soccer players. They're players that played all around the world, for different teams who've won in different leagues and things like that. So, I mean, you're not dealing with rookies who have no experience. They know what they need to do. They know what they're there to do. So let them do it.
Yeah.
Realistically, let them do it. Look. Is our defense going to get beat from time to time? Yeah, everybody's defense gets beat from time to time. The best defenses in the world get beat from time to time. Sometimes you just have a player who's just balling out of their minds, and they're doing everything perfect, and the ball's just going into the net that specific night. You can't blame them for that, right? But you got to be up there to lift them and pick them up and let them know, hey, you're good, man. You're still our guy. What blah blah blah, right? There's going to be times where, hey, our forwards are beating everybody to the punch. They're getting many shooting opportunities. Like I said, the Dynamo lead the league in expected goals, but the ball just isn't going into the back of the net. You have to be there to look, man, don't worry, man. You got the next one. You got it. Don't worry. We know what kind of talent you got. We know what you're capable of. Fafa, hey, man, we appreciate the hustle that you got, man. Like, you just need to tone it down a little bit, kind of let the pass come to you, not really just, go to the pass, whatever, like just relax a little bit. You got to be there to kind of just calm them, remind them of why they're here, why we chose them to represent us, and let them, and just kind of let them know that, hey, man, that don't worry about it. You got it. We believe in you.
So another thing, agreed wholeheartedly, but another thing, because I'm not going to get off this soapbox for a little bit, but another thing that we saw last night that we haven't seen in I don't know how long, and how many times have you and I said this specifically, whether we're at a match watching it together or we're at a watch party watching it together or just here on the show, make the gosh darn back post, far post run, would you please? Look at that Corey Baird freaking service across the box to a wide open Darwin Quintero streaking in. What a freaking team goal, man. I was just like, all right.
Hey, man, shout to Bundy, too, for awakening Corey Baird. I know, because I know they said that. I know they was talking about in the telecast that obviously the injury that he sustained, it takes a little bit of a while, and I understand that completely. Don't get me wrong, right? But, obviously because of everything that was going on with the Dynamo, we're all fixated on the negatives that's going on. And obviously Barrett, for the money that he came in from LAFC, we were expecting him to be contributing, and he obviously wasn't for the majority of the season until, as of late. And, now it's like, well, damn, if this is the Corey Barrett we're going to get from here on out, then now you're thinking about like, man, maybe he's one of the players we actually do keep, instead of like where we've been wholeheartedly been 100%. No, get Barrett out of here, get Barrett out of here. But, let's not forget he is a former U.S. national team player. He obviously has a skill set, because otherwise he wouldn't be called up for that prestige and things of that nature. And the only reason he got traded from LAFC is because, LAFC always brings in world-class players. So, and with that being said, I mean, who knows? Maybe this kind of resurrects Bear's time to here in Houston, and hopefully he shows out these last 4 games and really shows what he really has, and we can look forward to for next season. But who knows? Like I said, but for one game, I think Barrett, obviously I think 2 assists in the game, both assists to the Quintero goal, and then obviously the last Fafa goal. He doubled his assist total in one night.
Yeah. The other thing, and I want to call this out from the game because it is something that, first of all, Corey Barrett has pace since when? I'm sorry, what? Like you said, my dude looks unlocked, bro. And I, like you said, yes, he was injured. It's going to take a while to come back from an injury like that. Whatever. I mean, the guy went out and proved it. He's if it was a matter he needed to get to 100%, okay, fine. He's at 100% clearly. That's the best I've seen him play probably since he got here. He had a couple of good matches when he first got here, but that was just next level. And it helps. The other thing that I saw, and this is important, Baird played so well. And yes, he had a couple of misses that he should have made. Okay, look, that's Baird in a nutshell. We all know that's going to happen at least once a match, if not twice. But because he played so well, when you brought Quinones on late, what a luxury piece to bring on late from a depth perspective, man. Quinones looks like the deal, bro.
Like I said, for obviously for as good as Fafa and Baird, the 2 wingers that played, are looking, man, I want to see Quinones a full 90. I want to see him. That kid for the last 10 minutes that he's come on, the last 4 or 5 matches or however many matches he's played for, like it looks easy to him.
At 19, at 19,
exactly.
Have the mental football awareness to take it to the damn flag with less than a minute to play. Can we talk about this for a second? This for a second?
Look, like I said, look, look, this you're talking about a kid who's 19 years old who you can expect, hey, that you might have to have a little bit of a coaching moment because he's still young or whatever. But to have the soccer IQ to know that, hey, you know what, we're winning 3-1. Yeah, a youngster for the most part was like, yeah, I want to go attack and go try to score this goal for myself personally. But he was thinking about the team and obviously what the team needed, and what the team need to kind of pick them up a little bit is a win, especially a win at home. We haven't won in a while.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He went to the corner. He battled it out for a little bit. Didn't do a really good job at that, but it was the intent that counted.
He got it. No, he went to the corner and he won a throw-in for us.
Oh yeah, that's right. But with that being said, look, I think Quinones deserves an opportunity to start maybe the next game or the game after that. But yeah, I want to see him because, like I said, I see how he moves with the ball, and it looks simple to him. The speed of the game is not affecting him at all.
He's fluid with that ball at his feet too. And he's strong. Oh, that's something, right? We haven't had a strong winger in so long. A guy that he shakes off tackles. Guys are sitting there trying to be physical, and he's just holding the ball. I'm like, I like this kid.
He's 19 years old, so he's gonna have an offseason to build up, to build a little bit of muscle, and obviously work on his speed. He's a speedy guy too. So I mean, I'm excited for to have a legit prospect on the attacking side of the ball. We went
from Thiago to Quinones in one season, bro.
Like I said, shout out to those guys for admitting to their mistake with the Thiago transfer and keeping it real, holding it down and going out there, and trying to look for a player that they could to replace him. And there you go with Quinones.
Yeah, and another player who actually looked better than I think I've seen him look in a while was Memo. Man, that run into the box, that pass, I don't even know who passed him the ball. I don't remember, but that maybe it was Fafa. But that pass to just slot that little through ball, and the fact that he hit it right at the keeper pissed me off, of course. But the fact
I think
that
it was Corey Bird.
It might have been Bird. Bird could have had a hat trick of assists. Damn it, Memo. But, I mean, we talk about first of all, the vision and the wherewithal to put that ball where he did. But two, for Memo to at least have the awareness to make that run and get in behind the defense in their own box. I can't think of the last time we did that in a match other than last night. Like, little things like that just add up, man. They make the game feel easier. They make the flow feel better. So now I got to ask a question. And this is the question I've been dreading having to ask because it's a shit question to ask, but I have to ask it, right? The team did that without Hector Herrera. The team has looked better than they've looked since Hector Herrera got here, with Hector Herrera not even on the bench. I'm not saying Hector Herrera is part of the problem, but I am saying he's not the solution, and he was never the solution.
Well, I mean, we got to take it back to before he came in, right? I mean, you said it yourself. I said it myself too. We have the archives to prove it that, for those who think that Hector's going to come in and he's going to be the problem solver to whatever problem that we're having here with the club, they're completely wrong.
To be fair, we also didn't know at that point how bad Paulo was as a coach. We hadn't got to that point yet, too.
That too. I mean, we were kind of riding a little bit of a high because we were so close to Hector coming over, so we kind of whatever. But those who obviously have to analyze the game a little bit, like myself and you, because we do the show, I was still like, okay, I'm glad that Hector's about to come on, but there's something more to this than just Hector coming on and he's gonna save the day. Yep. Like, nah, that's not gonna happen. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I knew for the position that Hector plays, he's not involved enough in the attacking prospect of the game to make too much of an effect, And I know because of the position he plays for the Mexico national team, and obviously like the Spanish media will go and be like, well, Hector Herrera is supposed to be this player. He was brought in. He's their top higher player. He needs to go out here and showcase his skills and XYZ. And that's great. Yeah. But like I said, you also got to follow with what the coach says. And as we mentioned earlier, Nagamura seems like he was holding everybody back. So, I mean, and Herrera's only been in the club for like a month or two, up to this point. So, I mean, he kind of has to follow suit, especially he can't disrespect the coach being the number one guy in the club either. He can't barely come in and just go toe to toe with the head coach right off the bat. Like that's not a good look for a club culture or for a winning culture that you're trying to build here. So, regardless of whatever the point was, I mean, look, I'm going to put an asterisk to this for Hector Herrera. I think, look, if he doesn't play this season again, that's fine with me. And we'll just press the restart button next season with Hector Herrera and obviously, and hopefully with a better squad around him. And then we'll see what happens there. But like, as far as like, are the Dynamo better without Hector Herrera? Nah, I mean, look, Hector is talented. He has obviously talents that are going to make the squad better and make them, a lot more efficient. But, obviously a lot of variables go into that question. It's kind of a loaded question, if you ask me, because, when you bring in it's like you telling me, when the Galaxy had Zlatan Ibrahimovic and he was scoring 30 goals a year, but they weren't making the playoffs. Well, would they be better without Zlatan? Like, no, they wouldn't be better without Zlatan, So yeah, that's my answer to it.
Yeah.
I think we're just gonna have to put a restart.
Sure. So next question is, and George kind of brought this up, but we're stacked at center mid. We've got Coco, we've got Seren, we've got Ache, and I think in you also have to include Vera in there, and technically Memo, although Memo should be more of an attacking player.
And Brooklyn Reigns coming in.
And Brooklyn Reigns and Juan Castilla, if you want to go that route, and technically Palomino too.
He's more attacking midfield, but okay.
Castilla plays plays defensive midfielder for DOS, like actual defensive midfielder.
I saw him as an attacking is on under U20 for Colombia.
Yeah, because he can play both positions, but his position for DOS is D mid. Anyways, so what I'm asking is, who's out of that group? Like, because you ain't bringing 7 center mids back next season.
No.
That's not the number.
I mean, you obviously you have to look at the ones who are versatile. I mean, you can't just have a midfielder who's only able to play one. And if that's the case, then look, man, Memo has to go because Memo can't play any of them right. To be honest, in my opinion. Obviously he had a good game yesterday. And I don't want to take that away from him. But I mentioned it in the Discord and on the chat and the search Discord. I think Memo's not going to score for the Dynamo ever again.
Hey, Memo, go out there and score a hat trick so that your value skyrockets so that we can sell you expensive.
Or that too, there you go. But for a guy who's played multiple positions this season and has grabbed as many minutes as he's grabbed, and to only provide 3 assists the whole season, it's a shame, dude. Like realistically, and like I said, there's a different numerous amount of variables that go into account because obviously I can't really even say Nagamura is holding him back because I think Nagamura is like his number one fan because he played him in so many different positions in the midfield and obviously as a winger, right? But with that being said, still it's the stats weren't there. And obviously the play wasn't there either. So Memo would be the first one I would get rid of as far as, that. Obviously you have to look as far as, what you're looking for as characteristically as far as a player. Look, I've been a fan of Vera. I think I hold Vera very highly in my opinion. But as of late, Vera has been slipping a lot. And we have to take that into consideration. And obviously what we pay Vera and obviously his stature. For him to be primarily a number 6, which Vera is, his primary position is a 6. He doesn't play a 8. He doesn't play a 10. He doesn't play a 7. He doesn't do any of that. He just plays a 6. For his stature and for the talent level that's coming in into MLS, I think I want somebody a little bit more physical, has a little bit more stature to them. So I think I would place Vera out ahead of Seren because I think Seren, obviously, we know he makes his mistakes, but he has that stature. He knows how to play. He plays smart from time to time. Obviously he's going to have his bonehead moments where he gets 2 yellows in 5 minutes or he throws an elbow at a player and he gets a red card on the road or whatever. He's going to have those moments. But, this is your bench. We're talking about a bench player who can come on to spot start or whenever you need a last 10 minutes of a destroyer out there to hold it down for whatever result you have at the moment. And I think Seren is perfect for that. As far as with what's going on, I think we've seen a lot of Seren because we've been asking him to do a lot more than what we should really want him to do. But that's obviously because of the situation of the team, with it being so lackluster. Obviously Herrera and Coco are not going anywhere. He signed Coco on a permanent basis, so he's here to stay. I'm excited about that. I think Coco is a really good player. Herrera, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I think we just need to push the reset button on that experience on that experience here for next season and just kind of scratch out what's going on, what happened here. Obviously for me it'd be Herrera, Coco, and Seren and Brooklyn Reigns. Those are the guys I'm bringing back. And as far as Memo, Vera, and Memo and Vera, those are the guys I'm kicking out. Casillas, like I said, I guess we'll have to see how his improvement goes. If he's able to make that next step up and be a first team contributor, we'll see. I don't know. Like I said, it just depends on the next coach that comes in and how much he values bringing in youth players, or if he's going to be one of those coaches that, no, I need this squad. I need a squad full of veterans. We'll see. But yeah, that's who I'm keeping. That's who I'm going. That's who I'm tossing out.
I don't have an answer. I don't, because we still have 3 games left, 4 games left. I don't remember how many we got left.
Well, but I'm just going off the basis off the body of work that we've seen.
Yeah, so, I'm not knocking your choices. I think your choices are probably fair. I disagree on Seren. I know a lot of people are high on Seren and have been, but for me personally, even off the bench, I think there are better options. I do. I think he commands more money than he's probably ultimately worth. And your depth has to start becoming good enough to start.
And I agree with that. Like I said, but we also have to be realistic with what the Dynamo are going to be able to do this offseason. Like, and it goes into any offseason, right? Even though we were saying like, oh man, this whole list amount of players are out of contract. Yeah, but even though this whole list amount of players are out of contract, it's going to be cheaper to keep some of these players around as opposed to blowing off the whole team and having to go bring all these different players in from all different places and do all these different mechanisms or whatever. You know, we also have to understand that unless just Ted is just going to pull out unlimited amounts of resources, which, I mean, like I said, it's still to be seen, right? But, you know, but just to be on the more realistic side of things, you know, we have to understand that, you know, even though there will be a turnaround, there will be a handful or more of new faces coming to the squad next season. That, you know, would I be surprised to see Vera back next season? No. Will I be surprised to see Seren back next season? No, I wouldn't be. Would I be surprised if both of them are gone? I wouldn't be. You know, it just depends on who comes in and what they're targeting in the offseason. But yeah, but like I said, you know, my reason for going for Seren over Vera is just more of a physique, you know.
No, I agree. If it's coming down to you keep one of Seren or Vera, you keep Seren. I agree with that because I think that the other caveat to that is Vera's making more than Seren, and what Vera's given you at the same position is it is roughly equitable. So why pay more money for the same thing?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, so that was kind of my notion as well. Like I said, there was a moment in time where Vera was the best or at least one of the top 2-3 players of the Dynamo since he's been here, right? He's been that guy for a minute, but like I said, like the last couple of months, he's just kind of faltered. I don't know if it's just the culture getting to him where it's just like, you know, it's just been losing after losing after losing, and that's understandable. You know, you take a player out of a losing situation, move him somewhere else, all of a sudden this guy is amazing. You know, look at examples for like Christian Ramirez. You know, he wasn't doing shit here. And, you know, you send him to Scotland, and he's over there. He's fighting for the Golden Boot over there. You know, Kyoto. You know, he was having issues here. All of a sudden, he sent him to Canada, and look, he's top 5 in MLS scoring. You know, so sometimes players just need a brand new environment to flourish, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
Yeah. So George, tongue in cheek, asked. No, actually, it wasn't George.
What's up, Georgie?
Evil. He said, "Keep Beto."
Evil.
Beto Avila.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Beto. Oh, I call him Beto. I don't know. Beto is the right way, but Beto. I mean, look, Beto. I mean, he's a Dino Dos player who got signed to first contract. So congratulations to him. He's further along than, let's say, Castillas or or Palomino even, because he's gotten first team minutes, right? The other two guys have signed first team contracts, but they haven't seen the pitch with the first team. So he's a little bit ahead of the rest of them. And they gave him that contract for a reason, you know? So I don't think they're just willing to just go, oh, we messed up and that's it. I mean, no, they've had eyes on this guy. He's been with the academy. He's gone through the Dino Dos. He was scoring with Dino Dos. He's shown flashes of what he can do. But keep in mind, he's a rookie. He's what, 20 years old, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
I don't know how old?
20.
Okay, yeah, it's a 20-year-old kid, you know, first team experience, you know, making it into the big leagues. He's a professional soccer player now. He's reached one of his goals of his life. You know, maybe next season now he has a full off season with the first team, not with the Dino Dos, but the first team now that he's a professional player, you know, and maybe he takes a giant leap and he shows out. Who knows?
Yeah, I'd like to see him get some minutes with Bundy as coach. And I say that because this is a coach that's familiar with him as a player, coach that, you know, has shown that he can put players in a position to succeed, a coach that, you know, has shown he understands the players that are, you know, available to him. And so I'd like to see Beto under Bundy because, he could be a totally different player for all we know once he...
Yeah, he could be. But now I'll tell you what I see from my standpoint personally that might count against him, you know, because like, again, for the position he's playing a wing, right?
Yep.
So his stature is a little, he's a little player, you know, for lack of a better term, and you know, and you see somebody like Quiones and compare him, it's like, yo, like this is, you're talking about like
Beto got to hit that. He got to hit that weight room.
Well, not just that, but I mean, like he if he's gonna be short in stature, he needs to be at least stout, and be able to move around and stuff like that, and can't be pushed around. Because obviously, if he's going up against players like Walker Zimmerman or Kelini, or whatever top center backs that are out there in MLS, if you're getting pushed aside, then you're not doing us any good. And that's point and blank. That's no disrespect to Beto no, I'm not here trying to say that Quinones is better than Beto or vice versa, but I seen Beto and I seen Quinones, and Quinones, like I mentioned earlier, the game looks easy. The flow of the game looks super slow to him. He looks like it's nothing to him, and he's out there ready to go whenever the team is willing to give him minutes.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Quinones is on a loan this year and then option to buy at the end of the season. I think there's almost no doubt we're going to go for that option.
Yeah, I think they're gonna pick that up as soon as they're able to, and I'm excited to see his future with us.
Agreed, 100%. Let's talk another position of interest going into the off season in the last few matches. Who do you want to see at center back to close out the season? And who are you done with? Who is your center back that you're like, I don't want to see this guy anymore?
Well, I mean, like, the easy answer would be, obviously because Teenage is the DP and he's not living up to the DP contract, right? But he can be bought down, right? But as we're just talking about just pure talent, as far as like, okay, it doesn't matter what he's costing me. This is who I want to see. The two people I want to see obviously are Bartlow and I need to see Teenage, right? Parker, for me, I don't know. I like Parker, but Parker sometimes, for me, it just seems like he makes silly mistakes for such a veteran player. For somebody who's supposed to be that anchor for us to make just thoughtless mistakes sometimes, and it's like, come on, Parker. Like yesterday's game for sure. For example, obviously that penalty they gave up. There was no need for that tackle. Realistically, there was no need for that tackle. The guy had no angle to shoot. He had it on his opposite foot, and yet Parker's over there diving at him like this guy's about to score the game-winning goal. And it's like, nah, dude, come on, you can't do that. You got to be a little bit more intuitive with the game and what's going on in the situation. So I mean, I want to see Teenage and Barlow the last 4 games together, obviously, but the Dynamo did invest a lot in Tim Parker as well. So honestly, I see why they want to keep him there. And obviously he's a voice. He's one of those rah guys, who are going to be out there like, just, hey, come on, let's do it, blah, 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 be the kind of the loud guy in the room. But you can only be the loud guy in the room so much, and you got to show it on the pitch as well. And I think Bartlow, for the time that he's been out there, he's shown a lot of progression. He's shown a lot of good games. He's had really good games. We invested a high draft pick in him. So, I mean, you at some point, you have to kind of like let him sink or swim. So, I mean, why not these last 4 games? Go out there and do and show us that you were worth that number 6 pick or whatever pick it was.
And let's be fair to Bartlow. One of the best defensive performances of the season came when he and Parker paired up against LAFC. And yeah. Steve Clark decided to stand completely on his head, and Tim Parker and Ethan Bartlow both followed suit and proceeded to make saves of their own on the goal line repeatedly to keep Bale out of goal, which that in and of itself says a lot. I'm with you. I think that I want to see more Bartlow. I'm kind of torn between Parker and Hidebe for a lot of the same reasons you just said. I don't want to see any more Esteras unless it's in a sub situation late in a match, dude, somebody got a red card or got an injury and he's the only option type of thing. I agree with that. Well,
at least from my end, I'm not trying to disrespect Stairs. I mean, Stairs as a 4th center back, I think that's great.
Absolutely, 100%.
I mean, he's done the job for us. I mean, like I'm surprised he's played as much as he has, obviously because of injuries and things of that nature. But for the times that he's gone in there, he's done his job. And he's actually scored a couple of goals as a center back, which we don't get that much from a Dynamo perspective. We like a center back should be able to score from like 2 to 4 or 5 goals a season. Off of free kicks and set pieces and things like that. but it just doesn't happen for us. And for him to score, I think he has 2 or 3 goals this season for us. That's great. That's one of the huge positives that Stairs brings, that he is out there with a scoring prowess when set pieces are happening.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you as a fourth CB, but then I'm also going to kind of caveat that with going into the offseason, you've got 2 guys down at Dose that both signed short-term loans from Dose to, play minutes here with the senior team, guys that have been, chomping at the bit for an opportunity, in Mikal Da Silva and Dylan Maples, sorry. And so, guys. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're good. I know what I was going to say. You're good.
I said I haven't seen too much of Mikal and obviously Maples to have a real fluent opinion as far as obviously I know they're up and coming. Obviously I know they're doing great with Dyna Dose. Otherwise they wouldn't be in the position they're in right now. So obviously the progression level will be as well. Then we got to get these guys promoted to the next level, see what they can do there.
And so that's what I was going to say. And you're kind of helping make my point, which I appreciate unintentionally as it is. But why the only reason you keep a guy like Stairs on the bench then at that point as your 4 CB is because you want the veteran experience to be able to bring a guy on late or something like that. But I think you have to also look at the fact that Maples has multiple goals at center back for Dose. Same kind of player to what Asteras is in terms of his just understanding of the game. You watch how, and I've watched him at Dynados in a few matches and things like that. And he's a good center back. He's a solid center back. And I could see him pairing up with a Bartlow or even Bartlow pairing up with the Silva, whatever. But my point being that maybe there's a possibility next season that maybe you don't need either Teenage or Parker as a center back, and maybe you just keep Steres as your backup option, and it's unusual to start 2 rookies essentially, but you're not starting a rookie because Bartlow's not a rookie at that point. So I know it's crazy, but that is something to consider. And I can tell you right off the bat that Maples or Da Silva are going to bring you more pace than Parker's going to have. Now, they're not going to bring you more pace than a Hidebe because Hidebe is just an athletic, gifted, kid. But, at the same time, it's worth a consideration. And I think it's fair to say that one of those 2 is likely not going to be with the team in 2023 because they're just both so expensive. And that puts a lot of pressure on your budget when you're 2 of your top 5 guys that are salary wise are both in the same position.
Yeah, and it's like I said, look, the MLS is more an offensive league. They're going to pay their offensive players more than what they're paying their defensive players in this league, obviously. And for the Dynamo to be doing the vice versa, where you got 2 of your top 5 players being your starting 2 center backs, it would be one thing if the Dynamo had the number 1 defense in the league, then they'd be like, oh, okay, then yeah, for sure. Then I see why they invested on the defensive side like they did, because these guys are shutting down the guys. They're not scoring goals on this, whatever, right? But that's not the point, right? I know there was a lot of hype when Tim Parker came in first, obviously, because for the amount of money that they paid for him and Gam bucks or whatever they call it nowadays, and obviously the DP status that Teenage got when he got signed with the Dynamo at the beginning of Ted's run here with the club. So yeah, there was a lot of promise there, but just hasn't been fulfilled, and you can't, like you said, you can't have 2 of your top 5 players make that much amount of money and not get the results you need. If you're that's the problem here with MLS. Like the winning teams that are winning in this league, they're because every club is top heavy, right? But the ones who get it right at the top are the ones winning the championships, or the ones making the runs, the ones making the the playoffs, the ones making the CONCACAF Champions League, doing that thing. When you get it wrong on your top half, then that's when you see the position that we're in with like Dynamo. So
yeah, absolutely. So any other players that either stand out to you as players that you're not interested in seeing next year, or that you really want to get a good look at before the end of this season, or that you're like, oh, they've got to absolutely be back next year? So one player in particular for me that I think you kind of have to consider bringing back because, again, you pointed it out, we have nobody else at that position. And even if they came back and were just one of those guys that got starts, in kind of in a sporadic basis, but at least got starts, they could be exceptional, is Darwin Quintero. And he's not costing you a lot of money on the salary side. So,
I mean, for like I said, man, the Quintero thing is, it always gets me to a certain place because for what you're paying the guy for the talent that he brings in, like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a no-brainer. If the season ended tomorrow and I had to pick one player out of the amount of players that are leaving me, and there's only one player I can sign, he's the player I'm signing back. Because up to that point, I have nobody else. I don't know what's going to happen, right? Because you can go into the offseason plans of signing, a $10 million number 10, whatever, this and that. But until it actually happens, you don't have anybody else, right?
Yeah.
And Quintero is literally our only legit MLS level playmaker that we have on this squad.
Yeah.
And for what you're paying him now, because he's not on DP money anymore.
Nope.
Yes, you keep him. Whatever. Now it's up to the coach that comes in to figure out what you're going to use him for. But yes, you re-sign Quintero. Like, I'm all for Quintero coming back next season. I won't hear any of this. We should let him go. This and that. Like, no. If you're going to pay him the same amount you're going to pay, you paying him this year. The dude is literally almost giving you 10 goals on a part-time basis.
Yep. That's what I was going to say. Look, if the guy's basically giving you and if he had a coach other than Paolo, he would be on double-digit goals at the very least.
And I think he's top 1 or 2 in assists for the team on a part-time basis.
What's up, Kyle? Yep, 100% agreed. 100% agreed.
So this is why I can't listen to people from the Dynamo fan base, that say, "Oh, we need to get rid of Quintero. He's this, he's that." Like, look, we know his limitations as a defender. Everybody knows that. He's always been that player who doesn't defend. We know that. He didn't do it with Minnesota. He didn't do it with Santos. He didn't do it with Club America. He didn't do it with Colombia. So we know that. So why are we expecting something different from a 30-plus-year-old player? But we know what he can do offensively.
Yep.
And like I said, what he did for us this season on a part-time basis, man, it goes back to, like, man, what if Quintero was able to what if we just focused on letting him play freely and play his style, and then just put the players around him? Like, why can't we just do that? But yeah, I'm 100%. Mark my word on this. Whatever. I'm for Darwin Quintero coming back to the Dynamo next season. 100%.
Yeah, and he seems bought in general. Like, he seems happy here.
I think he enjoys Houston, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a huge Colombian community here. Obviously there's a large Hispanic Latin players on the team currently. So I think he enjoys Houston.
Yeah.
So if you have a player who wants to be here, let him be here. Let him do his job. Let him do his work.
Look, my dude is having a good time when he's laughing at the end of matches, and I pointed it out last night. He was laughing, joking around with some of the young guys. I mean, he really is having a great time right now. He's enjoying life. And, we talked about how much Bundy has played into that a little bit, even in just the 2 matches that Bundy's had. But, I think part of it is also that, Darwin's that type of player that when he's allowed to just play and to just be himself, it's the best version of Darwin Quintero. You want El Científico? Guess how you get El Científico? You let him just fucking go out there and play. Pardon my French.
Yeah, hey, scientists don't get it right. Scientists get it wrong more times than they ever get it right.
That's right.
In anything.
Yep.
So you gotta let that man go out there and play and do his thing. And fortunately for us in this field, he gets it mostly right than he does wrong. We're just not giving him enough opportunity.
Absolutely.
So like I said, you're talking about being a consultant for the Dynamo here. If anybody's listening, look, let me give you my first free bit of advice. Bring back Darwin Quintero. If he's asking for the same amount, whatever, bring him back. 100%. There you go. Free advice.
Now I'm going to ask you a question that's going to tear your heart out.
Well, let me ask you one question real quick before you go to the next.
Right.
I wanted to ask you about a position.
All right.
Griffin, Dorsey, and Seka at right back. What are we doing there? Because obviously, when Seka came in, he came in with a bit of a bang, a bit of a flair, and he came out with some pizzazz and offensively, that's what you want to see out of your right back, right? But obviously, on the defensive side of the ball, he's lacking as well. But then you see, Griffin obviously playing a position that's not his regular position. He's kind of playing there because that's where the coach wanted him, and he obviously right now he's in a position where, like, look, put me wherever, I'll play. We saw what he did with that fantastic goal against LAFC. What do you think? Are we looking for a right back in the offseason, or are we keeping Griffin or Seka?
I think we are. I think Seka can go back to Brazil, and Valentin can go find a new team or retire, whichever he wants to do. I think Dorsey as a right back as a backup with someone ahead of him that can teach him how to actually play defense is fine. The reason I say that, if you've watched Dorsey in the last 2 matches, the dude can play. The dude has pace. He's finally been let loose. I'm going to come back to it. He's been told, go out there and play your game. And when he's dribbling through the middle of the pitch, he is running, and he's running like a Hadabia. He's running like a damn gazelle out there. I mean, he can just flat out go. And this was late in the match. Like, yes, he was tired, but he was still running. He was running hard. He was trying to, he was getting involved. And I just think there's benefit to that, especially if he's not having to play every match. He's able to get some rest. So I think you go out and you get a starter quality right back, a wing back or whatever. But I'm going to caveat that with this. Whoever comes in as coach, whoever it is, again, it's going to be somebody, and this is my opinion, it's got to be somebody who knows soccer, knows football. I'm going to trust, if they think that Dorsey is the guy, then Dorsey's the guy. But if they come in and they say, no, Seka's the guy, then Seka's the guy. But if they come in and they say, nope, neither of them, I need a legitimate right back, then okay, you need a legitimate right back. Like, I think a lot of what is going to happen and what should happen in this offseason needs to not be dictated on either what we have now or what Pat thinks we have now, but it needs to be decisions that are made by the coach that comes in, because it needs to be his team, and it needs to be Pat supplementing that. It needs to be Pat bringing in players to fit that, instead of the coach having to make the players that we already have or that have been provided for him fit the way that he wants to play. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you bring a player with that kind of has that South American style play, obviously Seka's going to have the advantage in there, right? But if you bring in an American-based coach or somebody that plays a little bit more physical, maybe Dorsey will have it because because of his stature, even though his stature is not that bulky or anything like that. But like I said, it's one of those positions that kind of caught my eye at the end, because it's kind of up in the air.
Yeah,
as far 100%. as far as the 3 guys that are there, all 3 of them could not be. It's quite possibly none of the 3 are here next season. For whatever reason, and or 1 or 2 of them are back next season. Like I said, from my standpoint, I like what Griffin has done. To be able to adapt to a new position, to kind of try to make the best out of it. Do I think he's a MLS quality right back? No, I don't think he is. Obviously, it's good to see what he can provide from that as far as the offensive side of the ball, because we see what he can do with space and on the wing. But what I want him to be fighting for a winger spot with the Dynamo, not necessarily either. So I mean, it's kind of one of those things where he's a jack of all trades type of player that every club needs. That like, hey, if somebody gets injured for whatever reason at this spot, I know I can throw Dorsey on there and he'll make it do for the whatever amount of minutes are left in the game. So
you throw him on there after Quinones has been running at him for 75 minutes and give him 15 minutes, Dorsey 15 minutes of tired legs on opposing defenders, and Dorsey's gonna just blow by him because he has that pace. We've seen it.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess, like I said, obviously it just depends on what the coach that comes in has in mind. But
yep.
Yeah, it's one of those positions where I wouldn't be surprised if it's a whole brand new batch of players that play that position. But
I wouldn't be hurt if that was the decision that was come to, and that's the way we go. But it is another position that I think that no matter what we do, we need to look to upgrade the position. Whatever that takes or however that is needed to be done, we need to do that. So we have just about 13 minutes left. I'm going to ask you one more question on one more player.
I got a question for you after that question.
Well, let's go to your question then, and I'll save mine for after because mine
Okay.
can wait until next week if necessary.
So, I mean, obviously, we've been talking about players who I want staying. Is now, what is there a position right now currently that you're comfortable like that player can play right there right now for next season?
Striker with Sebas.
That's it.
That's the only position that I'm 100% confident in. Well, okay, and Steve Clark at goalkeeper.
Okay.
I'll give you. So literally, the very tip of the spear and the very bottom of the spear are the only two positions I'm comfortable with right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I'm a big.
Okay, wait. I got a third position: left center mid with Coco.
Okay.
Comfortable with Coco. The other side again. I'm wavering on Saren and Vera and Ache, but I think Coco on that left side is perfectly fine. I'm qualifying this by saying that Ache is a given, and so I don't feel like I need to even specify that yes, he's back next season. However they decide to play, and we could see a formation change too. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, because I mean, like, look, I mean, for as far as like Sebas, like the fact that he's scored 11 goals, 10 on an MLS and one in the Open Cup, right? It's kind of like, man, like what if this guy, like, what if he just had Quintero playing alongside with him for every game?
Yep.
Just him.
Yep.
Let's not even say any more like talented, but just Quintero. Somebody who can feed him the ball, because there was a little period of time where they were kind of connecting really well, and then obviously Quintero goes back to the bench. Sebas is not playing for whatever reason, even though he's your DP number 9. Even though you paid all this transfer money to get him, he's sitting on the bench for whoever we decided to play at that time. I don't even remember who. It might have been Thor or I don't know.
Yeah, it was Thor. It was Thor.
Yeah, Sebas, I mean, like I said, could very easily be at 20 goals. I think, he has that skill. He has that I mean, obviously yesterday's game wasn't that good of a game for him, and for him missing that penalty kick was just kind of especially for me riding him really for this whole season as far as being a cheerleader for him to, like, man, we did good on that signing. But yeah, I honestly think he would be 20 goals easily at this moment if he had legit service. You hear Eddie Robinson and Glenn talk about it it seems like every game. If Sebas had legit service, if Sebas had quality service, if Sebas had MLS on par service, this guy would be at 15 goals for sure, 20 goals maybe, possibly.
I think there's no doubt he'd be at 20 goals. I mean, how many matches did he have? Maybe if he was lucky, 2 chances that he basically had to create himself. I mean, there were numerous times that just there was nothing being generated around him, and it just fell to him to make something happen.
And Sanford says something about Thor brought energy all season, which, look, I want to bring something up about Thor, and look, he's a rookie, so I think for his rookie season, he's done really well. I like the fact that he goes in there and he wants to show whoever's looking, whether it be Naga or Bundy or whoever's the coach, that he belongs on the pitch and he's out there trying to score a goal by any means possible, right? But he did something yesterday that I'm glad that kind of like Eddie and Glenn called it on the telecast. He was waiting for a cross, and the cross came, but because he was complaining so much about the not getting the cross at the time that he wanted to, he missed the cross, and it would have been a real good shot on goal for him had he been paying attention. And it's one of those things where, like, look, I understand, sometimes you just get so frustrated and flabbergasted because of the situations going. He scored, I think, 4 or 5 goals this season, which is pretty good for a rookie number 9, especially one that's not starting every game. I think he's had a great, not great, I want to say a good rookie season, right? And he has something to build upon. But yeah, that's one of those things that he needs to kind of, hey, like, chill. I understand that you're excited. You want to get on the pitch. You want to score as many goals as possible in whatever amount of time is given to you. But you also need to stay focused and pay attention to what's going on in the game and not sit back and complain. You're not at that level yet. You're not Sebas. You're not, Hector Herrera. Those guys, okay, they've earned that right to complain about whatever's going on or whatever. You're not there yet. So let's chill for a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I have to wonder. Last night was a good example of some of the things that I think make Thor great, and then some of the things that make Thor frustrating as a player, especially as a striker, which is that he needs specific kind of play around him. He needs a specific setup to be good, or to net
Well,
home.
Thor's your typical number 9. You're holding number 9. He's slow.
Yep.
Look,
Yep.
he had a 2-on-1 where he could have taken it up probably another 2 or 3 yards up the pitch, but he decided to pass early because he felt that he was going to. He was running slow. Don't get me wrong. He's not a quick player at all. But you got to understand and have confidence in your dribbling and your skill and your technique. Where if you're 1v1, man, you should be able to kind of cross or make a little bit of a move, especially being 21 years old, to kind of get the defender off of you.
Yeah, let me ask you a question, and this is a genuine question. If you have to, and I don't think you have to, but let's say that the opportunity arises that a club is really interested in trading for Thor. Do you make the trade if the assets coming back to you are good enough? If you're getting a draft pick, you're getting allocation, money, and maybe you're getting an international slot. Do you take it?
Oh, I mean, it's hard because the draft pick is neither here nor there, right? Obviously, the allocation money depends on how much you get in that international slot. Those are 2 important components. I mean, you have a young player in Thor who's 21, 22, scored 5 goals his rookie season. He has a high ceiling, top 5 draft pick. So, I mean, he has value.
Would you be upset if the Dynamo end up trading him?
I mean, I guess it would you have to throw me a number and book. I mean, as far as international spot, okay, cool. But how much GAM am I getting? I guess
300,000.
Nah, I'm not doing it for 300,000. That's basically discovery rights. Discovery rights are being sold for like 150K.
No, discovery rights are 50K, man. I don't know what market you're playing. Woo, 150.
I don't know. I guess it depends on the player.
It depends on the talent. Yeah, the level of the player for sure. 100%.
Man, I would have to start at 500, like at least to get me interested, because like I said, of his age and his potential. 300K. That's Christian Ramirez. That's a 30-year-old center forward. Who at the moment's playing or backup, whatever. But you're talking about a 21-year-old who has.
So something worth considering related to Thor is Thor does take an international slot.
Yeah, I understand that, but at the end of the day, you're more worried about what potential. You're more worried about your talent on the team.
Yeah. Just curious.
You can hold the international spot.
3 points. Evil 3 points.
You can hold an international spot, but if that international spot is being held by somebody who's going to score 15 goals for you, then that's fine, But if the international spot is being held by somebody who isn't doing anything, sitting on the bench, then yeah, that's a failure.
Yeah.
So I mean,
just curious. No specific reason I'm asking.
I understand, but you would have to start $500,000 at least for me to even consider or even listen to you, because, like I said, because of his age, because of his potential, and his ceiling's still very high.
Yep. So we got about 4 minutes left, which means it's going to be a rapid fire edition of predictions presented to you by Golasso.media. Once again, thank you, Golasso.media, for the sponsor of the segment Predictions. We appreciate it. Make sure you guys check out Golasso.media for all your player likeness merchandise and gear. Golasso.media, check them out. So we got 2 matches to predict, both on Sunday. 6 o'clock kickoff time for Dynados here in Houston. They are playing North Texas SC, last match of their regular season.
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling?
Oh, they got to win for sure. I mean, it's a rivalry game, and then I think if they win this game, it gets them in a position where they get a home field game. I think, because I think they're currently 3rd. So I got to look at the standings, but I got to look at the standings. But yeah. But I know if they get a win, it'll push them into home field advantage or whatever. Or how I don't even know how the playoff system is going to work, to be honest, for the MLS Next. I'm guessing it's something similar to what MLS is doing. So there would be a home game if they end up in the top 2 seed, right?
Yeah, I think that's correct. I didn't actually look. They released a thing about it, but I don't know.
Okay,
I didn't read up on it. I've been busy.
Yeah, so I mean, look, it's they're going to have a new coach, obviously, so they're going to have a breath of fresh air there too. And I think that new coach is going to have a little bit of a, monkey on his back. Obviously not wanting to let it go south because you let Bundy go, but I think he's going to be hyped as well for the opportunity, and he's going to want these kids to continue to continue going and obviously win against North Texas, who is an in-state rival. And obviously with a home playoff game up on the line, I think they're going to go out there and do it. And especially I think they're expecting a big crowd because, tailgates and everything. I think Bation's going to be there. Serge are there a lot.
All of the supporters groups are going for the game.
So, yeah. So, I expect them to be up for the game and hype. So I think they're going to win 3-1.
Look, I'm going to go out on a limb. There is some emotion in this game. There is a bit of wanting to get back at North Texas. This is a team, North Texas, that is on the cusp of playoffs as well. So look, there's a lot to play for here. You can knock them out of the playoffs if you win. So the Dynados, they're going for it, and they're going to go all out for this one, right? And to your point, the SGs are going to be there, so they're going to have that verve, they're going to have that swagger, they're going to have that atmosphere behind them. They've played very well at Aviva Stadium this season, so I'm saying it right now. I'm going out on a limb. I think this is a Dynados dominating victory. I think 3-1 is fair, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is a 5-2 demolition of North Texas SC.
Oh, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm hoping to be there to go support the guys, but whether I'm there or not, I expect to win.
Damn straight. Expect to win either way. All right, so before we finish the show, and we got less than a minute, we did start technically a little late, so we got a couple minutes. We got a Dynamo match to predict. It is our favorite team to play, LAFC, on Sunday as well. 9:30 watch party is at Aviva Stadium after the match. Or is this is it at Aviva? It's at Aviva, right?
Yeah, it's Aviva after the
yeah. I knew there was a watch party. Yeah, there's a watch party. They're gonna have it up on the big screens at Aviva. So if you go, stay after and watch the match with the SGs. LAFC Houston Dynamo in LA. Hey, we've got the number on them right now. What are you feeling?
Shit, LAFC is not looking like LAFC as of late. I don't know what's going on. I haven't really kept up with them to see what's going on over there. But hopefully we can. Look, it seems like the Dynamo are ascending while the LAFC are descending. But they could just be resting their players because they already know they're in the playoffs. Whatever, right? But if that's the case, then hey, Dynamo 2-1.
Hey, look at that. G and you believing 2-1 Houston win.
There you go.
George says rip Dynamo at LAFC. I disagree. I think this is an opportunity for Bundy to really prove as a coach. And I think when I say that, what I really mean by that is him to have completely a hands-off approach and say, guys, y'all are good enough to beat this team. You already did it once this season, just a couple weeks ago. Go do it again. We're going to do it in their house. We're going to take it to them. We're going to stick it to them. And we're going to make a statement to the rest of the league. Yeah, we may not have had the best season this season, but we can still beat the big dogs in their own home. And you better believe that's the level of talk that Bundy is going to have before this match and after this match, after the Dynamo win. I'm going for a 3-1 victory for Dynamo on the road at LAFC in the loud, obnoxiously boisterous, incredibly annoying stadium of Bank of America Park?
California.
Bank of California Park. Right. California's not part of America. I forgot. You're right. I got it.
It's funny because if you win, you're kind of helping Austin. I think if Austin wins, they catch up and they overtake them by a point or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, I gotta look up the standings. But regardless, we don't care.
We don't care. But no, look, at this point, we're playing to win out simply so we can start playing spoiler. And I will note, the last match of the season, as a reminder for everyone, is against LA Galaxy. What an opportunity to probably play spoiler for LA Galaxy looking at the postseason.
It seems like we always have. It seems like every other year we do that to the Galaxy, which is fun. Like I said, look, we're always going to be kind of linked together because we were owned by the same company at one point. Yep. And we were kind of like the stepchild for that ownership group. But it's it'll be fun. It'll be fun. LA Galaxy, the last game I think is October 9th. If I'm not mistaken, on Sunday. So early
that sounds
evening.
Right. Yeah.
early evening game at 3 or 4. So hopefully it's not too hot still in October. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's sweep LA.
All right. Well, guys, hey, thanks for joining us. It is obviously a little bit of after time, but hey, we are never opposed to that if things line up to do it. We appreciate you guys joining and appreciate all the subs today again, guys. There are 16 days left in September. It is Subtember, as they say on Twitch. So if you are on Twitch and you have the capability, definitely toss us a sub. We certainly do appreciate it. It frees us up to maybe do some stuff this off season that we're also looking forward to for a number of reasons. But again, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. As always, throw the H's up. 2 H's for Ache in H-Town. Or is it Ache Town? I don't know. I've lost track. Guys, have a good one, and let's go Dynamo. What song do I want to play? I don't even know. I'm looking at so many different songs. I'll play this one. They can't hear it yet. Hold on. There we go.